Have you ever thought about how a tiny seed of greed can grow into a massive, destructive tree? Today, we're going to share a story that shows just that. It's the story of Rofik, a young man whose life took a tragic turn because of one small decision. Stick around, because this tale holds a powerful lesson for all of us. In a small, humble village lived a young man named Rofik. He lived with his loving mother, a kind woman who worked tirelessly as a seamstress to provide for them. Despite their simple life, she had always taught Rofik the importance of honesty and hard work. She believed that even if they didn't have much, their integrity was their greatest wealth. Rofik loved his mother dearly, and in his younger years, he took her words to heart. He was known in the village as a respectful and decent boy. But as he grew older, a quiet dissatisfaction began to brew within him. He saw the wealth of others, their fine clothes and grand houses, and a seed of envy started to sprout in his heart. One sunny afternoon, as Rofik was walking home from the market, something shiny on the dusty path caught his eye. He bent down and picked it up. It was a single gleaming coin. He looked around, but the street was empty. A thought flashed through his mind. He could return it to the village elder as his mother had always taught him. But another, more tempting thought whispered to him. It was just one coin. Who would miss it? He quickly pocketed it, his heart beating a little faster. That evening, he bought a sweet treat for himself, a small luxury they could rarely afford. The taste was sweet, but it was the thrill of having something for nothing that truly excited him. This seemingly harmless act was the first step down a very dark path. The thrill of that first coin didn't fade. Soon, Rofik found himself looking for more opportunities. It started small. He would take a few vegetables from a farmer's cart when no one was looking. Then, he'd sneak a piece of fruit from a stall at the market. Each time he got away with it, his confidence grew and his conscience quieted. His mother, busy with her work, didn't notice the small changes at first. She was just happy that Rofik seemed to be in good spirits. But his small thefts were no longer enough to satisfy the growing greed inside him. He started thinking bigger. He began stealing small items from his neighbors' homes, a forgotten tool, a piece of laundry left out to dry. The risk was greater, but so was the reward. He sold these items for a small profit, enjoying the feeling of having money that he didn't have to work for. He started lying to his mother, telling her he found odd jobs in the village. She was proud of his supposed hard work, never suspecting the dark truth behind his newfound income. Rofik was living a double life, and the wall between his two worlds was getting thinner every day. As days turned into weeks, Rofik's greed became insatiable. The small profits from minor thefts no longer excited him. He craved more. He started observing the wealthiest man in the region, a merchant whose grand house stood on a hill overlooking the village. Stories of the merchant's immense riches, his chests full of gold and jewels, were legendary. Rofik became obsessed. He spent days watching the house, studying the guards' routines, noting when the family was away, and looking for a weak spot in their security. He planned his biggest heist yet. He convinced himself that this one big score would set him up for life. He could provide for his mother, and they would never have to worry about money again. He justified his plan by telling himself that the rich merchant wouldn't even miss a fraction of his wealth. The night he chose was dark and moonless. A storm was brewing, the wind howling through the trees, providing the perfect cover. With his heart pounding in his chest, Rofik scaled the outer wall of the merchant's estate. He moved like a shadow, his earlier thefts having sharpened his skills. He managed to slip past the guards and found an unlocked window on the ground floor, just as he had noted during his surveillance. He silently slipped inside. The house was opulent, filled with luxurious furniture and expensive artifacts. For a moment, he was mesmerized. Then, he remembered his mission. He made his way to the merchant's study, where he believed the main safe was hidden. He found it behind a large painting, just as the rumors suggested. He began to work on the lock, his hands trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. But Rofik had underestimated the merchant's security. As he fumbled with the safe, he unknowingly triggered a silent alarm. Suddenly, the entire house was flooded with light. Bells started ringing and shouts echoed through the halls. Panic seized him. He abandoned the safe and scrambled back towards the window, but it was too late. Guards were already surrounding the house. Rofik dashed out into the garden, hoping to lose them in the darkness. A desperate chase began. He ran through the manicured lawns, his lungs burning, the guards' footsteps pounding right behind him. He vaulted over a hedge and made a break for the main gate, but more guards were there to cut off his escape. He was trapped. They closed in on him from all sides. A guard lunged and Rofik fell hard to the ground. Within seconds he was captured, his face pressed into the dirt, his dreams of riches turning to dust. The grand heist had ended in a humiliating failure. The news of Rofik's arrest spread through the village like wildfire. The next morning, his mother was woken by the frantic knocking of a neighbor. When she heard what had happened, her world collapsed. Disbelief was followed by a wave of crushing shame and heartbreak. The boy she had raised to be honest and good was now being called a thief. She rushed to the local holding cell where Rofik was being kept. When she saw him, sitting alone in the corner, his face bruised and his eyes filled with despair, a sob escaped her lips. She didn't yell or scold him. She just looked at him, her eyes filled with a pain so deep it was like a physical wound. "Rofik," she whispered, her voice trembling, "what have you done?" "All my life, I taught you that our honor is all we have. I worked my fingers to the bone to give you a good life, an honest life." Seeing the unbearable sadness in his mother's eyes was a punishment far worse than any prison sentence. For the first time, Rofik understood the true cost of his greed. It wasn't just his freedom he had lost. He had shattered the heart of the one person who loved him most in the world. He broke down in tears, overwhelmed by a wave of guilt and regret so profound it felt like it would drown him. Rofik was sentenced to years in prison. His time there was long and difficult, but it gave him something he desperately needed: time to reflect. He thought about that first coin, the small, seemingly insignificant choice that had started his downfall. He realized that greed is a slippery slope. It starts with a small compromise, a tiny justification, and before you know it, you've lost your way completely. He understood that true wealth isn't measured in gold or possessions, but in integrity, love, and the peace of a clear conscience. He had traded all of that for a fleeting thrill and an illusion of wealth. Rofik's story serves as a powerful reminder for all of us. Honesty and hard work are the foundations of a meaningful life. The shortcuts that greed offers might seem tempting, but they always lead to a dead end, causing pain not only to ourselves but to those we love. Let's remember to value what truly matters and to cherish our integrity above all else. Thank you for watching. We hope this story touched you and gave you something to think about. If you found this message valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire and teach. Don't forget to share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. Until next time, stay thoughtful and stay true to your values.